Ladies and gentlemen, most of us will never know the pain or the pride of a mother whose young 27-year-old son comes home wrapped in the tricolour. 4 mothers across India today are bound by that conflicting emotion. The mother of Captain Brijesh Thapa in Siliguri, the mother of Nayak Rajesh, the mother of Sepoy Bijendra, the mother of Sepoy Ajay. All 4 died in the line of duty today in Doda. All 4 were part of a team that was hunting down terrorists in the dense forests of the district. Captain Thapa's mother Nilima says her eyes may have tears, but her heart is swelling with pride because her son died protecting India and its flag.
He's a very decent guy. तो जैसे तो उसको आर्मी में जाना भी था, गर्व तो होता ही है ना, देश के लिए कुछ किया उसने, है ना, तो देश के लिए तो कुछ किया हुआ, तो गर्व तो होता ही है। ये है कि उसके अलावा फिर उसको हमने अभी वो हमसे दूर गए ना काफ़ी, उसके लिए भी हो सकता है। वो तो करना तो चाहिए, अभी वो तो करेंगे, गवर्नमेंट करेंगे भी। अभी ऐसा तो नहीं है कि गवर्नमेंट ऐसे बैठेंगे, वो लोग करेंगे। ऐसे भी कल से ज़्यादा डिप्लॉय हो रखा है वहाँ पे।
At about 10:30 in the evening yesterday, then only I came to know. He told me, he broke the news to me that Brijesh is no more, and I could not believe. Then I asked him to kindly recheck, maybe this is but he says, no, this is confirmed. This is what he told. I feel proud that my son has done something for our nation and for the security of the nation. And but only thing is that we will be missing him for the rest of our life. That is the only sad part that we have. Otherwise, I am happy that he's given his life for the country.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the second time in a week, coffins of our soldiers wrapped in the tricolour have travelled home to their families. As a nation mourns and salutes our brave hearts who died fighting terror in Jammu, the time has come to ask, has Jammu become the Naya Kashmir? Terror in the Kashmir Valley has dipped after the abrogation of Article 370, given the heavy presence of security forces there. So, terrorists have found a new hunting ground, the relatively peaceful Jammu. In the last 32 months, ladies and gentlemen, in the last 32 months, 40 soldiers have died in Jammu in various terror attacks and counter-terror operations. In Doda last night, Captain Thapa's team, along with the Jammu and Kashmir Special Operation Group, had launched a manhunt in the forests for terrorists after a tip-off. These terrorists, all Pakistanis, were involved in a terror attack in Doda itself 7 days ago. They had escaped then, and by the looks of it, they have escaped again, taking advantage of the dense forests and pine trees that often grow up to 250 meters in height, making visibility beyond 4 feet next to impossible. In the gunfight that broke out last night, terrorists occupying higher ground had the clear advantage. 7 days ago in Kathua, it was again the advantage of local support and terrorists occupying higher ground that killed 5 of our Jawans. Look at the data, ladies and gentlemen, and this data is worrying. In the last 40 days, terror groups have bled India to a point that a recalibration in strategy is imminent. In the last 40 days, we have seen 9 attacks in which 10 soldiers have been killed and 5 terrorists have been neutralized. 2 soldiers for 1 terrorist. It is too high a price to pay. Why has Jammu become the new Kashmir? Is it because troops from Jammu were shifted to the China border when the standoff in eastern Ladakh started? Is it because of the impending elections? Is it because India's anti-infiltration grid has failed? Is it because we took our eyes off Jammu while concentrating on Kashmir and eastern Ladakh? I'm putting these critical questions to my guest this evening. General Hasnain, good evening, and thank you very much for joining us here on the broadcast. SP Vaid is a former DGP of Jammu and Kashmir. He's joining us on the broadcast as well. General Hasnain, when Kathua happened, we had discussed this very question. Why Jammu? I think there is some degree of clarity on why Jammu is now the new hunting ground for Pakistan-based terrorists. My question is a simple one. We have an anti-infiltration grid that is in place in Jammu and Kashmir. Our borders, the LOC is very heavily guarded. How is it possible for this number of terrorists who are heavily armed to cross the border from Pakistan and target our civilians and our Jawans?
Thank you, Shreya. Thank you very much. And I start by expressing my very deep regrets for this terrible loss, particularly in the case of Captain Rajesh Thapa. His father happens to be a cadet of mine and also a regimental officer. But besides that, lives of all four plus these policemen from the Special Operations Group, very, very special to all of us. I deeply regret this. As to your question, I think I'll have to do some plain speaking on this too, without holding back anything on it. See, Shreya, infiltration and counter-infiltration are one of the most difficult operations you can ever come across in any hybrid war conditions. A lot of people say you got a counter-terror, you got a counter-infiltration grid, so your infiltration should be zero. At the end of the year, you should have killed so many terrorists, and that many terrorists should have been reduced with no more coming in. This is never possible. This is theoretical. Those who look at all this theoretically, they will state it. This is the area where you can have a wire fence, you can have 3 tiers defending that wire fence and covering it, yet you put your right hand out, left hand out, for 1 meter a person can go past, you will never come to know. So this is, at best, it is a kind of a line which you defend and against infiltration. But somehow or the other, at times you will fail, most times you will succeed. No, it's not necessary that this has happened through infiltration in the recent past. There are lots and lots of theories which are going on. At the moment, one of the things is that these terrorists have come and used a different kind of a strategy of lying low in the Jammu region for the last 6 months to 1 year. There's no registered, there is no registration of their names, etc. at all. As such, they're escaping completely from the intelligence grid. It happens many times. It does happen many times. And the adversary on the other side is also smart. He is going to try and find ways and means. So this is one of those things. Okay. We are down temporarily, Shreya. We are down temporarily. Okay. I will not say that we are in a jeopardy. We are down temporarily because we did not take our eyes off the scanner. I won't say that. What has happened is you base your response on the threat pattern. Jammu did not have a threat pattern for the last 15 years almost. It was all in Kashmir. Then in 2020, Eastern Ladakh suddenly erupted. So when we say that we have sent troops to these places, correct, these are threat-based responses that we have done. Now that Jammu has woken up, I agree our intelligence should have been better. We should have anticipated this. But now having had these kind of instances, we are responding. It will take a little time to get the intelligence grid back into place, to get our contacts, our ability to network with the local civilians, everything. I think the effectiveness is waiting for one major successful operation, and then that will be.
Mr. SP Vaid, I want you to come in here. I'm just looking at the numbers in the last, in the last 1 week or so. I'm looking at 5 terrorists being neutralized in various anti-terror operations, and I'm looking at 10 soldiers being killed in the line of duty. That is too much of a price to pay. The lives of 2 soldiers for the life of 1 terrorist. And the worry is that there are more terror groups that are hiding in these jungles of Jammu, and we simply do not know how many there are. Is this just an intelligence failure that we are seeing in Jammu, or is it more than that, sir?
Shreya, situation is definitely not very comfortable. First of all, my tribute to the martyrs and my heartfelt condolences to their families. The whole nation bows its head to these martyrs. It is a difficult situation in Jammu, and the kind of attacks which are taking place, particularly after Prime Minister's swearing in a 3rd term, when that major attack took place on the Yatris of Shiv Khupri. Earlier, it was only restricted to Rajouri Poonch. Now, slowly, you are seeing how the arc of violence has spread from Rajouri Poonch to Reasi to Hiranagar to Pilawar, Mashedi, Kathua, and now in Doda. Yes, what you said, it is the ratio is very, very disturbing. Uh, 5 terrorists and 10 such brave, young, handsome soldiers. Looking at these young boys, it's difficult to stop my tears. This is what Pakistan wanted, actually. This is what Pakistan is aiming at. Because for him to arrange 50, 20, 50, 40, 50 rogues, train them in jungle warfare, provide them arms and send, and then these rogues will operate in these jungles, difficult terrain, and then inflict injuries. This is what Pakistan deep state wanted. And I think
Sure.
we need to, the leadership
Okay.
needs to look into what steps should we take that casualties are minimized. That is very, very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that is my next question then to General Ata Hasnain. General Ata Hasnain, because of the number of security forces in Srinagar, obviously Pakistan-based terrorists cannot do anything there just because of the sheer number of troops on the ground. So they have shifted all their focus and attention to Jammu. One gets that. I think what Pakistan and its deep state are trying to do is fairly clear to India, not just in the last 42 days, but in the last 32 months, because this arc of violence has been going up in the last 32 months. It started with 1 or 2, but look at the point it has got to. My question to you is, there will be a recalibration of strategy. What can be done? Is putting back troops in Jammu the only solution that will work? There is some plan to put 10,000 troops back in Jammu, but is that going to work?
Shreya, as I told you in my earlier intervention, it is a matter of time. You may put 10,000 troops there, but until that intelligence grid, until the grid of the contact with the people is re-established completely, it's going to be difficult to be fully effective. But let me try and introduce another angle to this. What is happening in Jammu is not necessarily targeted at Jammu. This is a tactical ploy which is happening in Jammu, but ultimately the center of gravity of this entire proxy war is not Jammu, it is Kashmir. They will want to go back and hit Kashmir. They will want to make sure that they send the message back to the people in Kashmir that, see, we are doing this for you, we are doing this in Jammu. This is the kind of messaging which is going on. Let's not see it in very simple terms. This is a very, very devious methodology which is being followed, knowing that they don't have the capability to hit in Kashmir easily. Although I do fear that they are looking at opportunities of hitting the Amarnath Yatra, for example. That is going to be, for them, a very, very big strategic achievement if they manage to do it. And we have to defend it at all costs. But coming back to your specific question, what can we do?
Sure.
Yeah, in this case, if we have additional troops also, it starts with getting your basics right. We have to make sure that we return to our basics the way we started in the 90s, early part of the millennium. Some of those basics have been lost. It happens always. When you start succeeding, when the strength of terrorists comes down. My time when I was in the valley, I remember as a colonel, I was handling 12 contacts a day. Today, if you have one contact in 6 weeks in the valley, it's considered to be something great, right? So this experience is no longer there at the moment. You have to go back to basics. You have to make use of that experience all over again. For example, a very simple thing I will tell you.
Okay.
I would never chase a terrorist into a jungle after 6 o'clock at night. I would break contact and wait for another opportunity when I will get there. I will keep my men safe, but I will make sure I get the terrorists 2 days, 3 days, or 10 days later. Very difficult to, you have to, criticize this kind of a thing sometimes to tell people that there are some basics in which we are going wrong. I would not open my road every day. I would not send 2 vehicles every day for supplies here and there or for patrolling. I would open the road once in a fortnight or 3 weeks, as I did in Sri Lanka. I used to open the road once in 3 weeks.
Okay.
And that is the time when everything went and came. And we had a very strong road opening procedure for that. The LTT,
Okay.
as good as they were,
Okay.
they could never hit us. So these are things which you have to do. And the last thing
Okay.
is, I think the time has come to churn the Pir Panjal. When I say churn the Pir Panjal, if you are getting additional troops coming in, like Sat Vinash, we did it with 7 units. I think 2 brigades worth of troops are required at the moment to once again commence the process of churning the Pir Panjal.
One thing is very clear with what you say, that SOPs in Jammu will have to be relooked at by the Indian Army. We leave it there for the moment. General Hasnain, thank you very much for joining us. Mr. Vaid, I'll request you to stay on for our next story. While our brave hearts are bleeding to death, ladies and gentlemen, in Jammu, our politicians are busy doing what they do best, sparring with each other and pointing a finger at each other. Seeking accountability for the loss of 50 uniformed lives in the last 32 months in terror attacks in Jammu and Kashmir, former Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti demanded the sacking of DGP R.R. Swain and called him a political fixer whose priority is more to target the PDP than go after terrorists. Now, Mehbooba's salvo is coming a day after Jammu and Kashmir's DGP accused political parties in the valley of facilitating Pakistan's infiltration into civil society in Kashmir. Listen in.
Pakistan successfully came to infiltrate all important aspects of our civil society. Thanks to the regional so-called mainstream politics in the valley, there is overwhelming evidence to show that many had honed the art of running with the hare and hunting with the hound to a near science that left both the common men and the security men bewildered, frightened and confused.
इस वक्त के डीजी हैं, he is more, busy with fixing things politically. उनका जॉब है पीडीपी के लोग कैसे तोड़े जाए, लोगों को कैसे हरास किया जाए, उनको कैसे धमकाया जाए, जर्नलिस्ट को कैसे तंग किया जाए. We need a डीजी. हमारे पास यहाँ पहले भी बाहर से बहुत डीजी आए हैं, बहुत अच्छा काम किया उन्होंने. बहुत सारे जो बाहर के एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव ऑफिसर्स आए हैं, पर किसी ने कम्युनल लाइंस पे आज तक काम नहीं किया. यहाँ सिर्फ कम्युनल लाइंस पे काम हो रहा है.
हम पे इल्ज़ाम लगाना अगर सियासी तौर पे कोई लगाए तो सियासत में वो चलता है, लेकिन एक प्रोफेशनल का काम है कि वो प्रोफेशनली अपना काम करें और ग्राउंड पे अपने प्रोफेशनलिज्म को वो अमलन दिखाएं. इल्ज़ाम हम पे क्या लगाएंगे? वो इन सब का तो उस वक्त कहीं कोई रोल ही नहीं था जब नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस ने यहाँ जमहूरियत को वापस रिस्टोर करने के लिए कोशिश की. कोई लगभग 3000 के करीब हमारे साथी जान भाग हुए. इसी काम के लिए हमने मुल्क का झंडा यहाँ खड़ा रखा है और उसके लिए हमको किसी अफसर की या एलजी की या किसी और सियासतदान की या प्रोफेशनल जो यहाँ पर ब्यूरोक्रेट्स हैं उनकी सर्टिफिकेट की ज़रूरत नहीं है.
SP Vaid, former DGP of Jammu and Kashmir, continues to be with us. Imran Nabidar is the state spokesperson of the Jammu and Kashmir National Conference. And you have Lalit Ambardar, who's an activist who's joining us on the broadcast. Gentlemen, I'll request you to keep your comments short, at least to begin with. SP Vaid, I'm going to start with you. Was this professional behavior by the DGP of Jammu and Kashmir? Here you have a situation where attacks in Jammu are going up, where security forces are losing their lives. And should you not know better than to make statements that are political?
See, Shreya, my view is what DGP said was actually to a very, very large extent correct. But yes, in the public domain,
Correct.
it is not. I knew all this. We all knew. My predecessors knew all this. But yes, it has not to be said in the public. That is the line which a police officer or bureaucrat need not cross. But we know that Pakistan's ISI had infiltrated almost every section of Jammu Kashmir society, whether it is media, whether it is academia, universities, colleges, whether it is civil administration, police, bar council, trade union, you name any wing, medical institutions, every institution was affected. There's no doubt in the 90s we have seen it. But it's saying that political parties I think that statement could have been avoided by the DGP, and in fact, it is also a
But
fact that
Imran Nabidar. Okay, let me just bring in Imran Nabidar into the debate as well. Imran Nabidar, essentially, what the former DGP of Jammu and Kashmir is saying, that this essentially is Kashmir Valley's worst kept secret. Now the DGP has come out and spoken about it. DGPs in the past knew that as well. Everyone who used to come on deputation had the same experience with political parties and Pakistani, Pakistani, not infiltrators, but at least the ISI, infiltrating civil society. This was something that everyone knew. Now a DGP is openly speaking about it. What is the problem in that? Jhoot to nahi bol rahe?
I think he has to, cannot generalize. This is not a generalized statement. I mean, this is a very big statement. This is a very sensitive statement because he has talked about mainstream political parties. So who is he referring to? Is he referring to Dr. Farooq Abdullah? Is he referring to Mr. Umar Abdullah? Is he saying that Umar Abdullah and Dr. Farooq Abdullah are in cahoots with ISI? Is he saying that? I mean, this is a very serious statement, and we understand. I mean, we have been facing these political statements from political parties, but coming as such a statement, such a very sensitive statement without any proof, without any justification, and a sweeping statement against our leadership, I think it is something that should not have been made. If there is, they have all the requisite departments with them. They have all the agencies. If they feel that there is anything, they should investigate. What is the point of speaking against making such a statement? And very important, what is it that DGP has done to stop these terror attacks? I mean, all these terror attacks have been happening. 56. Okay. We have lost 56 soldiers over the past, I think, 2 years. Who is responsible for it? Under his watch, we have seen people, soldiers getting killed in areas where there was no militancy, where militancy was almost over. Vaid Saab is here. He can corroborate my statement on this, that this area had seen, there was no militant activity like we're seeing right now. So he has to answer what his responsibility and role is. Rather than answering for his responsibility, he is making a political speech, which is very unfortunate.
Lalit, Lalit Ambardar, just come in here. The DGP here, according to the spokesperson of the National Conference, and the PDP is saying this as well, is making direct and serious accusations against elected chief ministers of the state. Should he not be concentrating on the job at hand instead of targeting former chief ministers?
Shreya, I think I salute the DGP who has come out with the truth. We have been sweeping things under carpet for a very long time. And I tell you, I say it, I've been saying it for 32 years. Mainstream, so-called mainstream of Kashmir, they are the original Islamists of Kashmir. Let me give you example. I'll give you example. National Conference, their member of parliament in the last Lok Sabha, Akbar Lone from Baramulla. He was a member of Legislative Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir Assembly. In a live assembly, he raised Pakistan Zindabad slogan. And when he came out, journalists asked him, "What did you do it?" He says, "I'm a Muslim, I became emotional. I'm Musliman hu bhavuk ho gaya." And you know what Farooq Abdullah does as the president of the party? He rewards him with a ticket to Lok Sabha. And about PDP has a manifesto, party protocol. It's called self-rule. On top of the agenda is joint control of India and Pakistan over Kashmir. So you consider them as mainstream? India-based mainstream party is asking for control of part of India by enemy nation. So you call them mainstream parties, and everybody knows. When Farooq Abdullah says he is pleading China to return to get him 370, and when all these years, I say we have been trying to pamper them. We have to pamper. Listen, Sheikh Abdullah was given a sultanate through Article 370 with Jawaharlal Nehru, and the very Jawaharlal Nehru put Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah in jail for treason for more than a decade. So we have to understand what we have on hand. Kashmir mainstream, and DGP has used euphemistically civil society. He hasn't got political parties. It was civil society. I think he has been very modest in his language. You have to pinpoint it. They are Islamists. pro-Pakistan, and I say it here in front of you. Inka Pakistan se rishta ka la ilaha illallah. They claim their party workers have been killed by Pakistani terrorists. Let them say Pakistan, a word against Pakistan. No, they continue to plead for talks with Pakistan, even if they continue to bleed us.
Okay. Imran, I'll give you 20 seconds to respond and then I have to wrap this debate. Please go ahead.
No, I can understand why Lalit ji is saying, because he comes from a background where he has to speak against Muslims, he has to speak against Kashmiri Muslims. I can understand because he comes from that background. No, let me complete my point. The point is, not a single argument from Mr. Lalit Ambardar. No, you are a criminal person. I don't want to get into this. You have been saying this all along.
Gentlemen,
we all know how criminally charged statements you have been making.
Yes, you have been spreading hatred,
and
you need to be tried for that.
This is your job.
Gentlemen,
this is your job.
I need some decorum here.
You are paid.
Gentlemen, I need some decorum here. Just a minute, gentlemen. Gentlemen, I need a little decorum here. Lalit ji.
Yes.
Okay, Lalit ji, I need you to keep, I need you to please. Okay, yeah, okay, we've heard you. Again, Imran, don't get personal. Don't get personal. Yeah, I agree with you. Lalit ji didn't say anything communal. He didn't say, he didn't say anything about Muslims. But I'm going to, Imran, give you 20 seconds after wrap the show. Please don't waste this time on tutu meme.
Statement is concerned, every Kashmiri Muslim is a militant. That is what they infer. They call every Kashmiri Muslim as a militant. People who are holding the tri-flag, they call them, you are sympathizers of militants. I don't understand. What else do we need to do? National Conference has suffered innumerable casualties. Almost 3,000 to 4,000 of our political workers and ministers and MLAs have been killed, assassinated over the past 30 years. I don't understand why we have to prove our loyalty to the country over and over again by people like Lalit Ambardar. This is something that they need to understand, continuously bringing up this thing. The only I fail to understand, why aren't they asking questions to the people who are governing? It is the BJP. Why aren't you asking questions to the people? All these soldiers have died under the watch of Mr. Modi. Who is responsible for these deaths? Somebody has to be held responsible. Why aren't you asking questions, relevant questions to the government and center? Why aren't you putting them under the whole? They are the ones who are responsible. 56 soldiers have lost their lives over the past 2 years. And nobody, you are questioning us. We are out of government for the last 10 years. But you are not asking the relevant question to the government. And Mr. DGP, who has been holding the office for so many years, he doesn't want to talk about this. He just goes on in the media and says everything is normal. Agar everything is normal, why do we have these recurring attacks?
Made your point.
Why aren't you concentrating on your job rather than giving political speeches?
Imran, I think you've made your point. Lalit Ambardar has made his point and SP Vaid has made his point as well. Our viewers have heard all three of you. Our viewers are wise enough. They'll make up their minds on where they stand on this story. We'll leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much.